My people, what up, though? We back with another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. My name is Chief.
And I'm Bell.
And my name is Black Man in a Great Mood.
Okay. Tell us why you in a great mood, Black Man. Check in, fellas. What's up? What's good?
All right, bro. So look, I had one of these moments. So I get a text message. So for those of you who don't know, my oldest son, Justice, he was with me the past 10 and a half months, which is the longest stretch of time he's been with me ever because he goes to school in the state of Florida. All right, so check it. I get a text message, and so Justice, I got him a phone. We got him a phone for what was that? We got him a phone for Christmas. Got him an iPhone, whatever the new iPhone is, right? Just so you know, with his schedule and just how he moves, being older, being 12, he needs a phone. You know what I'm saying? So even when he's in Florida, that way there's no reason why I can ever get in contact with him. Anyways, I get a text message that says, "Dad, I got in trouble." I say, "What do you do?" He said, "I got into a fight." I was like, "You got into a fight?" He text messaged me this. So I was like, "Yo, call me." He said, "I can't leave the office right now." I said, "What did I just tell you to do? Call me." So he calls me. I said, "I don't want to talk to you on the phone. You better FaceTime me. I need to see your face." So he gets on the phone. His face is cool. He's like, "Dad, I got into a fight. So, this kid smacked me in the back of my head. And he's always messing with me kind of, and he smacked me in the back of my head." And I said, "Don't do that." He said, and I kind of let it go. But then he came back and he did it again. And he said, at that point in time, I grabbed him. I put my arm around his neck in like a neck hole. Then I twisted him and threw him down. He hit his head on the table. And then I got up and hovered over him. And then they had to grab me off of him and take us to the office. And I was like, "So you defended yourself?" He said, "Yeah." And but for the first time ever, man, this was like, so just a little bit more context. I got bullied a couple times in elementary school until I started standing up for myself. So I got a little chip on my shoulder with that. So as soon as he said that to me, I was like, look at me. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. You don't let nobody fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? It was just one of them quick moments where I was just like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm never worried about just protecting themselves, but I think it's just one of those reassurance moments. You always want your kid to kind of stick up for themselves and defend themselves. And sometimes that line has to be crossed in order to let somebody know where you stand. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not condoning him being violent, but it was just one of the moments where, I'm glad to know, he stood up for himself, bro. So I'm kind of happy.
No doubt.
That's what's up.
Was the principal in the room listening to you tell your son, "Good job for knocking the nigga out"?
Check this out. Principal had to come out and grab him because remember, he wasn't supposed to leave the office. So when she stepped out, I saw her coming, and that was right when I was like, "That's what the fuck I'm talking about. You don't let nobody hit on you." So she didn't like it. So she had a lightweight attitude with me and like tried to take the phone from him. And I tried to start kind of getting to her like, you need to pause a minute. Like, I'm talking to my son. She's like, he's breaking protocol right now. I'm saying, well, if you guys would have been on your job and seen as how this fight occurred an hour and a half ago, and I haven't been contacted by the school, and it's 90 minutes later, I'm going to be speaking to my son for details because you guys aren't on point enough to contact me. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, she out and heard it. So, she kind of got a little taste of my energy, but yeah, but I was proud, man. That shit kind of made me just like, yeah, go good.
I had a moment like that. Kind of the same thing, but it didn't get physical. So my daughter, this didn't happen to her till she was in college. You know what I'm saying? And it's a long story, but she was participating in this group event. And as a result, there was a group chat formed. And, girls are catty, whatever. And one thing led to another, and they just started coming at my daughter, you know what I'm saying? Like bullying her over the text.
Mm-hmm.
And then she called and she was like upset. And like, just like, "Dad, I don't know why they're doing this. And she's like, I'm just so angry. I can't even respond right now." But they had practice again for this group event. You know what I'm saying? I said, "Bree, this is what you do." I said, "These girls are doing these things because they're not used to real life confrontation." I said, "Here's what you do. You go to practice. You prepare to fight. You wear some sweatpants. You put your hair back in a ponytail. You go there prepared to fight. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not going to happen. They're not going to fight you. But you go there being prepared." And I said, "I'm right down the street. So if any of these dudes, try to step in anything, just let me know." So she went prepared to fight. So she called me afterward. I said, "Call me as soon as you get out. Let me know how it went." She called me. She's like, Dad, you're right. They didn't even want to do nothing. I went there. I didn't even practice. I just went up to their face and said, I'm here now. What y'all want to do? And they was like, they wouldn't even look at me. I said, I told you. They when you come to them live and direct,
yeah,
bullies, that's not what they're here for. They don't want no part of that. And I told her, I'm like, you know, obviously I'm not a lot older than her. So, but I'm older than her. And you know, the era we come from, man, it's like, if you said something, you're gonna see that person.
right.
There was no social media. So if I said something to you, it had to be in school or at a local gathering point where we was gonna bump into each other. So you had to be ready to stand on that. And that's what I told her. I was like, you go there ready, but it ain't gonna happen. So I feel you. How you felt today is exactly how I felt that day.
Yeah, bro. It's crazy. I don't want to step on you, Chief, but it's crazy because I always wonder if I'm being too assertive sometimes with what I instill in them as far as like defending themselves and speaking up with themselves, because I remember my childhood and getting bullied those handful of times. So I don't want to overcompensate. You know what I'm saying? So when it kind of lands in that space where you're okay with that shit as a parent, you know, as a father, like, I'm not mad at you. Your mama ain't mad at you. Good job. That's what you do. Even though that's not necessarily my mom wasn't that adamant with me defending myself, but she definitely believed in me doing it. It's that confirmation, but that shit felt good, man. You know, so when they come back,
you also don't want your kid to be a punk, so I get it.
look, man, at the end of the day, yeah, we can't have no suckers in this household, man, and you know, I got to be responsible for that.
I get it,
like
man.
just gonna pull up in the spot next week after his suspension. Like I wish him would. Like what you want to
listen, that's what I said. I said, so check it. Bet he don't mess with you again. Bet he don't say nothing. And since then, he's like, yeah, said nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? We ain't raising no suckers around here. You know what I'm saying?
And
not I mean, here.
And that and what that does for his confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like it's twofold.
He gonna walk up in the spot next week like, yo, I'm here. Who wanted with Hov?
What's happening?
What's happening?
Like that Beanie song. Who want what?
Just like that, man.
Prentice, when's the last time you been in a fight, Prentice?
Sarai over here laughing. She just heard you ask it.
she like Gina from All About Business. Baby, you can't fight.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I hit them one time.
Nah, I don't even remember. But last time I've been in a fight, college, after one of our parties in downtown Oakland, a bunch of suckers ran up. You know, so college like 06.
Oh, okay.
Hey, where you went to college?
I went. So when I graduated high school, I went straight to Hampton University. But I was 17 at an HBCU. I lost my mind there, man. So I came back.
How long you was at Hampton? We may have crossed paths.
Bro, I was there for 1 year. That's it.
I didn't go there. But
yeah.
My ex went there, so I was.
We went there.
I was there for a year, man. Then I came back, but I went to San Jose State after that.
They offered me. Hampton offered me a football and basketball scholarship.
Word, yeah, man.
I just knew that wasn't.
It wasn't for me, man. The vibe wasn't for me. Too slow.
What about you? Bell, when last time you got to a fight?
About 10, 11 years ago. About yeah. It's you know, we ain't gotta talk about it, but yeah.
No
doubt. That smile, that smirky gave, man.
let's just say it's let's just say I got a story to tell. How about that? Right. Y'all fill in the blanks, but similar situation.
So what we talking about, Chief? What's up?
I think today we're gonna dig into y'all mentals. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna dig into our mentals. So what I got last time was I did a lot of facilitating in the conversation and didn't really participate and answer the questions. So I gotta make sure I'm taking part in you know.
Who told you that?
People.
Can't listen to everything you hear.
You can't. I mean, I recognize that in the middle of the episode. Like I was doing a lot of like, you know.
Can I give you some feedback?
Sure.
I've been drinking, so you know, I had a long day, y'all. Like
me too.
I recorded literally for 3 hours. I don't have another podcast or nothing, but something I was doing for my company. Anyway, you take the feedback from the viewers, which is cool, but you take everything. and like put it into action.
Hey,
And
implement 100%.
yeah, but like,
bro, B.
yeah, but some things is just like, you know what I'm saying? Like you play football, right? You were safety and a linebacker, and you got coached, but you can't do everything at once.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No
And
doubt.
Basically, this nigga's telling you don't participate more, but we hear you enough already.
no. I'm not. That actually don't have nothing to do with that. yeah. Chief, be a silent partner, bro. Be a silent partner. No, I just like I love because just for the viewers, if you're getting a response on our social media, it's a 99% chance it's not me. Just
Or
because
me.
Most
yeah,
of them have been positive. Outside of that one chick who was trying to come at Prentice, but most of them it's been good. And the dude who left a note, he was trying to get at us too. But
what he said.
Wait, who left the note?
Remember the dude? You was like, yeah, he's probably talking about me. He's like, I love what y'all talking about. You know, keep going, but y'all pull out game week. I was like,
He's definitely talking about me.
like,
Yeah, it could be either one of y'all.
right.
That's true.
Prentice got the Wendy special.
Yeah.
So
You said what?
you got the Wendy special, the 4 for 4.
4 for 4, man. Out here on that value menu.
Yo, speaking of that, Prentice,
that didn't sound right. That didn't sound right.
Your photo shoot was dope, bro.
That was real dope.
Ah, thanks, bro. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man. I was tearing up and shit, watching that shit, man. It was fresh. I can't wait to get them pictures back, man.
I wonder who's more emotional, you or Chief?
In terms of what though? Like how
emotions, nigga. What do you mean in terms of
it's probably me. Because I'm in real like
I don't know, but I ain't gonna lie, but I'm an emotional ass nigga, but
maybe it's just a constant for poets.
No, we're not gonna take it to that point. Don't do that, bro.
Don't do that.
Yeah, we can talk about all this other shit, but what you not gonna do?
But you see what y'all doing though? Y'all peep what y'all doing? Y'all associating emotion with weakness.
Okay. You can put on the doctor cap. Okay, I see where you going. These flips is smooth, man.
Yeah, you ain't emotion is cool, man. Like I tell my salespeople, like people, and we can start the episode after this, but
it's already started. This is going.
It's human nature, yo, to associate emotion with weakness. There's so many of my salespeople that I've had, current, past, when they get emotional, they fight it and they they apologize and they be like, I'm trying to change that. It's like, nah, what you two did is you embraced it, right? You guys leverage your emotion, right? Via on stage, for relationships, interpersonal dealings, whatever, you leverage it and you allow it to propel you. And that's the thing. It's like, it's still human nature, I think, for us to associate. Don't cry, don't be a girl, right? Like things that are ingrained in you as a kid. So, but yeah,
I recognize on some real shit, but I ain't gonna cut you off, but I recognize the gift in being emotional. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a real big gift because I know it's an empath or empath. How do you pronounce that term? Y'all know?
Empath.
It's an empath. I know 110% I'm one. I can look at clips on YouTube of like joyful moments and feel all the shit they're feeling in there, like physically feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like an overwhelming. Chief, that ever happened to you, bud? You ever watch something?
Did you ever see them soldiers returning home from the war surprising their people?
Oh, with their king? Sometimes when I need to just feel, look, this is Black Men Need Therapy, man. Look, if you need to feel, you watch them returning home from war as compilations.
And just the way the kids jump up on, like, I ain't seen my dad or my mom in forever long, and man, and they be having the don't they always have the perfect soundtrack in the background? Whatever.
Just a little ooh. This shit is a wrap.
Yeah. I think the good part about like embracing the emotionality, I guess, or the emotions of within who we are is
emotionality, nigga. Did you just make that up?
we've become good at expressing those emotions. And I think that is what's been beneficial for me. Like I've learned to embrace them and then communicate them.
I'm still laughing at that emotionality he just threw in there,
What we
bro.
want to do. It's our podcast. Emotionality is a word now. Like
We gonna define that shit.
put it on a shirt. Emotionality. What is you
You
dancing
might,
for,
why you bullshit? You might be onto something.
right. Right. Speaking of that, yo, I didn't I didn't even really look at these Jones, but we got a shout out to Juanita. She pulled up at the school. We got some merch, y'all.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what's up.
You know?
Juanita, your cousin?
Nah, Juanita's a supporter, man. She made the Jones and was like, yo, I got y'all some teas. So
Wow, thank you, Juanita. Shout out to you.
Juanita, we appreciate you for that. Shout out to you. Does she have a business chief that we can shout out?
She does. And we gonna work with her. So, but yeah,
let's put that like at the end of the episode or something. You know what I mean? I mean, because we appreciate that genuine love and support. I mean, this is a perfect time to just mention that. Like, we're doing this to heal ourselves and hopefully everybody benefits. But for any of you who take the time out to say anything positive, especially to donate your services or your gifts, man, we really, really appreciate that wholeheartedly. Please know we don't take that for granted.
That's a fact.
For real.
Chief, what's the name of her company?
I don't know if she has like a company brand. It's kind of like, I don't know the name of it. I'm sure there is one, but I need to do better from promoter. But
well, we'll find it out, and when I edit it, I'll just put it at the end of this episode. That's
whatever. We'll give her a shout now, and then you know what I'm saying, when the edits come, we'll throw something else in there too. But yeah, man, so you looked out, man. So I'll make sure I give y'all teas. It's just 3 of them.
You got my size in there though.
Extra, medium, large.
A large? Yeah, that's me.
I got a large, 2 larges and an extra large.
All right, for sure.
So yeah, you a large, he a large, and you know what I mean, Daddy-O over here.
That shit ain't gonna fit you.
Bro, you called yourself Daddy-O.
All right, fellas. So we're gonna get into it. Today I think we decided we're gonna go with the mind of a black man, and it's just inquiring as to
Wait. Let's preface this by saying the mind of us black men. We don't speak for all black men. Let's just be clear. We do understand that black men should be able to relate, but we don't speak for all black men. This is the mind of Prentice, Chief, and Bell.
Word. I checked, but I like the little check-in we just did, yo. Like I felt like we had, you know what I mean? That's what people need to see though. I'm leaving this in here. That's what they need. They need to see the genuine bond and build. You know what I'm saying? Like they need to see that.
Yeah, and you just miss us.
That too.
Yeah. So y'all niggas need to be more consistent. That's the problem.
Hey, whoa.
Ain't no listen, see that listen, bro. It's we. We need to be more consistent. Like,
yo, we need to be more consistent. Word up. Anyways, it'll be out this week, so it's consistent. Nevertheless. Prentice.
Yeah.
Think back, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, if you will, if you can.
Yeah, I can.
What is it?
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
Shut up. What is it you were thinking about the most? Like, what was most prevalent on your mind within that span of time?
Probably how much my marriage was not fucking working and trying to figure out how to make it work. That's probably the most dominant thought 5 years ago.
Now, push forward to right now. What is it you think about the most right now?
How happy I am.
That's a constant thought for you.
Every 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. How consistently happy I am.
That's impressive. I thought you were gonna say every day, but that's impressive. 45
no,
minutes.
I'm at some space right now that I don't fight that's full of gratitude. So when I say how happy I am, where I'm able to identify happiness right now is absolutely insane for me. So when I say how happy I am, I recognize something quite often throughout the day that just makes me happy. And it makes me be like, damn, P, you a really happy person, man.
You really out here
Mm.
flourishing, cuz. I mean, think about it.
Yeah,
Your son called you, told you got into a fight, and he was happy about it. You know what I'm saying?
listen, man, it's just the things is working right now. Everything's lined up. So yeah, I'm happy, man.
That's what's up. Bellhead.
Before I answer, I commend that, Prentice, because, and I got to get better at this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't sit in it.
Mm-hmm.
Good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't sit in it. Like, I don't like receive whatever it is. Like, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's dope, but yeah, I got this though. I got to take care of this. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm definitely happy. Like, there's no question that I'm happy. But if this makes sense, I don't focus on the happy. And it sounds like you are acknowledging it and allowing that to continue to propel you. You know what I mean? And I think, like, listen, things are great. Like, you hear me? Great. Oh, I won't mention that. But anyway, things are great. You know what I'm saying? And but I'm still like things are great, but I'm in a new role, and I'm like, yeah, but I gotta focus on that. Like, I gotta focus on that, as opposed to like, damn, you're doing okay right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's not like, because material, financial, like that doesn't equate to happiness necessarily, right?
Right.
But for me, it's like I'm genuinely happy. Like, I don't really have any hardships, right? I mean, good health, like things are good and things are moving in the right direction, right? I'm getting all kinds of opportunities, like things are moving in the right direction. But I still, like, and again, this is our therapy, right? So for me, it's like, I got to get to that place. Like, I got to get to, like, just stay a little bit in that happy space more than for lack of a better term, the worry space,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Worrying about how this is going to get done, how that's going to get done. Where it's like, nah, bro, like, you good. Like, but I'm kind of giving myself therapy. I know why I'm like that though,
Why?
because I fear complacency is a fear of mine, like complacency and like resting on your laurels, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I had a conversation with one of my partners when we were in Mexico. In the back of my mind, it's like, if I stay too happy and not hungry, like, and that's another thing. Like, they can't operate in two spaces in the same space, right? It's either you're happy or you're hungry. You know what I'm saying? You can't be happy and hungry.
Yeah.
And so I default to hungry, right? And that keeps me going. That keeps me still striving. It's like I don't know. I'm just when you said that, it resonated with me, because I'm like, I need to work on that. I need to call Deb back. I need to get back with my girl Deb.
So can I throw I don't know what to call it, a challenge or whatever at you, but just to ask you to kind of take a look around every day. Like, for example, when when I'm at work, sometimes I encourage teachers to just walk through the hall and ignore any of the negative, the cursing or whatever they hear in the background, and just focus on the number of smiling faces and kids in school genuinely happy.
Yeah.
And the majority of them are happy to be there. They're laughing with their friends. They're having a good time. And every now and then you hear, some crazy stuff in the background or whatever. But for the most part, everybody in the building, all these kids are happy.
Right.
And it puts you in a different place in the building in your job. Because as the dean, Bell, from personal experience, it can be stressful at times.
Oh yeah.
So I take myself out of my office and just go like looking for happiness. So I ask you to kind of like embrace the good things. Like when sit down in your car and be like, yo, just basically sit there and count your blessings every day.
Yeah. Listen, I couldn't agree with you more, right? Because more often than not, I'll speak for myself. More often than not, there's entirely more happy and good than stress, worry, and bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, I'm not bragging. It's just kind of my default. Like, I think about all the transition, all the stuff I've been doing and everything like that. I'm like, yo, but you know what though? COVID also doesn't help, because Like my wife is like the vacation queen. Like it don't need to be a special event for her to want to hop on a plane and go somewhere. So there's at least, like I haven't been on vacation since February. You know what I'm saying? And we go somewhere at minimum once a quarter. You know what I'm saying? Now I may not be like to another country or nothing like that, but we'll get out of the house and get out of the state. So I think that maybe is not helping me either, because it's like we typically would celebrate a lot of these things that are happening. You know what I'm saying? Like I got my final child support check the other day, the lump sum. You know what I'm saying? So like that's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm good. I'm you know, Brianna found out how much I got, so of course she hit me up. But still, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like
And
shit's good. Like I really can't complain.
Didn't you?
Hmm?
You just flipped the house too, didn't you?
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying, bro. Like I got like
Good things happening.
I would have literally sold 2 houses in 60 days. You know what I'm saying? So, like things are good. Like I really can't, like there's nothing to complain about. Nothing.
So you know what you doing, and Chief, you got to answer the question too. This is what I'm doing. When you heard me say that, what I'm doing is practicing um letting happiness and life coexist in the same space.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? What it's helped me realize is how much anytime any blessing has happened from the system to Arsenio Hall, I let the moment happen. But as soon as the moment happens, my reaction to a big, proud moment in my life is bracing for the impact, is preparing for the crash, is looking out for the disappointment. So I've never allowed myself to learn how to live in joy. You know what I'm saying? So if I could look around at where I live, if I could look around at my kids, if I could look around at this woman that I'm with, if I can identify anything around me that makes me feel joy, I'm allowing happiness and joy to coexist while whatever comes my way comes my way. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that's changing my perspective now. So now it truly feels like there's way more good happening in my life because I'm allowing myself to recognize it, and that's what I'm
focusing on it.
Exactly. That's what I'm so really, but like practice allowing that shit to coexist with the rest of life.
100%.
However that looks for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but let 100%. That shit happen, bud, because they can live in the same space. I'm learning that. Chief.
100%.
Well, Bell didn't really answer the question, but Bell, I like just like what he's saying, that hunger and happiness can most certainly live in the same space.
Yeah, it can, bro. It can, but I think before I answer the question, and I think this is good because this is like authentic conversation. I want to touch on something that Prentice just said, which is the whole bracing for impact. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's probably more common in Black people than most. You know what I'm saying? Right? It's like
that letdown.
Yeah, it is letdown, is marginalization, right? It's all these things that it's like you got a perfect example. You got a brand new car, you drop the top. Now you're like, well, damn, now I gotta watch, depending where you are, I might have to watch out for the jack boys. I gotta watch out for the police. I'm not supposed to have this nice ass car in this neighborhood. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a learned behavior, man. It's a learned behavior. And then it's like the whole crabs in the barrel mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like if you are rising up, right? People that look at you and you look at your success. And when I say success is relative, right? I mean, if you can go from working at McDonald's to working at Ruby Tuesdays, right? Like people see that and they still on the fryer at McDonald's and they kind of mad at you a little bit because y'all literally were in the same place, right? So again, it's the preparation for those moments after the success. Like, and I think that's my problem too. Like, I think it's like I'm getting some momentum in my new role. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, all right, but we getting it, but we're not there yet, right? So I still gotta, you know what I'm saying? Or it's like, yeah, we're moving, but I just lost a couple people, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, but let's focus on like what's happening good. Anyway, I went down the rabbit hole, but when you said that, it kind of triggered me. So
it makes sense that when we want to prepare ourselves for that positive and embrace the positive, we have a tendency to also condition ourselves for the crash, for the fall, for the negative that comes our way with the celebratory moments.
And the crazy part about that is if you reflect, like anybody listening, reflect on those times. If you can relate to this shit, when I reflect on the times that I embraced for the impact, it didn't make the impact any better. It just took away from my ability to enjoy whatever the fuck it is that triggered me embracing the impact. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not able to identify that until now because I've just been embracing the good. You know what I'm saying? And when I kind of feel like too, we don't give us enough credit as Black men to really reflect on how much we've earned our happiness because we so big, being down on ourselves for the shit that we did wrong. But we've earned a lot of the joy that comes our way at this age, bud. Like we're not.
You've earned all of the joy.
This reminds me of a moment from last episode, Prentice, when you were talking about your relationship, and I congratulated you on just being in a space of being happy with making good choices and really dedicating yourself to your relationship, and you didn't want to accept the compliment. You almost was like, nah, but that's what I'm supposed to be, and I mean, but I get that. Yeah. But still, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to acknowledge and embrace that and live in that moment. Like, yo, and that was one of the things for me in terms of what I think about the most. Honestly speaking, of when I go 5-10 years ago, like I was in a bad place mentally. Like a lot of what I think about now is how much I've changed, bro. Like I've done a lot of inner work, bro. Like when I say a lot, P, I'm talking about your boy was angry, like a different kind of angry all the time, and it just showed up in different ways. And now, like I'm very exponentially proud of myself, yo. Like I've made strides in terms of how I handle situations, how I speak to people, how I just how I interact with it. Like it's been a lot of growth, and I just think about how that has impacted my kids and the people around me, and I'm very, very pleased with myself. And honestly, that's one of the things I think about the most. Like all jokes.
That's what's up. That's one of the things you think about the most?
Yeah. Like just the growth I've made, how every day I genuinely wake up determined to like have a good day. Like every single day, I'm like, yo, push through, get up, do what you got to do. Like, and it's just the nature of the way my mind works now, bro.
And both sides of the coin are infectious.
Right. And you know from firsthand experience, like when shit hits the fan, like I'm always like, all right, like I'm not spending time tripping on that shit, yo. I'm really not. I'm just like, all right, well, we'll figure it out.
You know what the crazy shit is? I'm not a worrier, like in the sense that like I don't worry about things I can't control. Like I've never been like that. Like I'm like, whatever, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like when it hits me, I'll be worried for a second, but then I'll take a nap. I'll wake up and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let the chips fall where they may. But that, like, it's funny because I watched the other night. I couldn't sleep and I was on Instagram, and I saw your post when you was like, happy Monday or whatever, good morning or something. And the first thing I said, just because I'm me and you're you, I'm like, so happy ass nigga. Right? That was the first thing I said. But then I'm like, yeah, that's dope. You know what I'm saying? That like he's in a good mood. He's spreading love. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to encourage. That's exactly what you're doing. Trying encouraging people to have a good day, right? And I'm like, that's dope. And I'm like over here being angry, like, nah, man, that's too early. You know what I'm saying?
I make it a point to at least try to do it every day and just like to, be consistently positive. And believe it or not, people are like, yo, like where you been? Like you wasn't on today. Where were you? Like I was looking for your little, and I don't even be saying shit. People.
It's
like,
infectious. Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, you don't know.
It's that energy, man.
Yeah, you don't know the impact you're having on people. Just like this podcast, right? We don't know how it's going to impact people. But I never answered the question, Chief. So let me answer the question. 5-10 years ago,
what was it you thought about the most?
5 years ago.
5?
5.
Go 5, yeah.
What was that?
2016, man.
16. You quick. Math ain't wrong. Math ain't good over here, bro.
Hey, but it's only 5. I can handle that.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to do that, Chief.
Don't
I can tell you right now what I thought about the most. At that time, I didn't officially get promoted, but I got hit with more responsibility. And my focus was work, right? Just like, because one thing about me is like and not so much now, really. Well, definitely not now. But I got like a hustler's mentality, so I'm always doing something. Like I don't do well with just sitting around because, like I said, like when that complacency feeling, I feel like that's I I can't celebrate because I equate that to complacency. So anyway, I'm always doing something. And in 2016, I stopped. Um, just like doing little things to make extra money. I stopped doing everything. And I just focused on my company. And and I remember at the end of 2016, going into 17, I'll never forget this shit because I'm very confident in my ability when it comes to like me and like me determining an outcome. Like I'm always gonna bet on myself. I'll never forget this. I was like, because just for context, success in that role will determine. I took that position to get to where I am today faster. And it was like 2016, 2017, where I'm like, I got this, I got this, I got this. And then after my first year, I'm like, we didn't have a stellar year. And I'm like, yo, like, what if this shit don't work? And that was the first time in my life, because I'm like a serial optimist. That was the first time in my life where I was like, yo, I could really fail. Because sometimes you fail at things, but you can't, it's not like you don't predict it. It just happens. It's like you win it, then you look up like, damn, I didn't do that. Like it didn't work out the way I wanted. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't taking that home with you too tough.
Yeah, but like I'm like, yo, like I could have really signed myself up for something that literally puts me further behind from where I want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like that was one thing. And then financially, because of that move, I took a hit and I was paying for college. You know what I'm saying? I think Bree, that would have been her first or second year. And then right, it was her second year. And then that's when, like I said, financially I took a hit. And I'm like, damn, I gotta pay for college too. So that was probably on the forefront of my mind, I would say the most at that point was career. Because family was good. Like it wasn't anything going on at home and nothing like that. But I would say that was probably the thing that was on my mind the most at that time.
So what about now? How has that changed now? Obviously, she'll graduated.
What do you think about most now?
Winning, man. Like that's what I think about. Winning and developing people. That's what I think about the most. Like
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. Go ahead, man.
no, that's it. Like how do I get people to win? Like how do I win? And win for me is getting other people to win. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it is for me. And using my platform, so that's one thing that I'm starting to understand a little bit more of the whole psychological size thing and how your words can impact others because of your title. Like I'm starting to step into that a little bit more and also leveraging it to help people that was where I was, people of color to get to where I am. So developing people and winning. That's probably and my son. Like, and I don't say it like an afterthought, like he's the first thought, you know what I'm saying? But just like he's not even one yet. So him growing up in the city, like I'm constantly thinking about that, like how his life will be impacted not being around his grandparents. That's probably what I'm thinking about as of like the last 2 months.
What were you gonna say, P?
I was talking and I was thinking like I kind of cheated myself. So I think about being happy, how happy I am, but I'm like obsessed over this craft now with these words, man. I think I craft every waking minute. It feels like that's the other thing I think about all the time nowadays is my craft. Like I was looking at Jabberwocky videos earlier and trying to figure out how I could take the rhythm of how they move and translate that into something verbally. You know what I'm saying? Like I just be thinking about and I wasn't even high thinking about this shit. So I'll say all that shit to say I obsess over the craft. That's something I think about just as much as I think about how happy I am, if not more.
That's what's up. I put a lot of my time and thought into it too. I'm really locked in on trying to reproduce my play and get everything going. So I've been putting a lot of energy into that and making contacts and trying to get the right people on my side to help to help it get bigger and bigger. But it's something I'm definitely putting a lot of energy in. It's been on my mind heavy, but that's one of them. It's like a goal, and it's not. So that particular goal has been really something I've been locked in on for the past about
So
top of December. So that's been cool. So in just talking about what we were thinking about, how has your life? I mean, I know we all had these childhood dreams of being whatever we wanted to be. How has it differed from your childhood to now in terms of what you wanted to be and where you become? Because you couldn't have told me at I don't know 7 to 10 that I wanted to be a professional poet. You know what I'm saying?
hey, well, you go first, bud. You go first.
I think like every inner city kid I had, you had the hoop dreams and the football dreams, you know what I'm saying? And then as that slowly
What
starts,
now? What age we talking?
just when you can recall yourself wanting to be something. Like I still believe from maybe till I was like so till I broke my leg in college that we was going to the league. And that's when it kind of was like, okay, what next?
Yeah, that's an old age to kind of get that reality check too, man.
No, for sure. For sure.
It
I mean,
makes
because
sense, though.
up until that point, Pete, I had done everything I said I was going to
To be
do
on track.
with football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was moving in that right direction. And
Yeah, but when I fractured, I had brittle ass bones. I played sports and I was good, but I wasn't the best. You get what I'm saying? Like I started, but I just started. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't the fastest, but I wasn't slow. And I got my "you can't play football no more" moment when I was just turned 13 and my freshman year of high school. You know what I'm saying? So that gave me plenty of time to discover forensic speech and debate and all this shit. So I can imagine, but going that course and getting all the way to college, man, and then that dream dissolving, man, that shit got to do a mental number on
it wasn't as bad as you would think it was for me, at least, just because I knew, like just the mentality, like whatever I put my mind to, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So it wasn't like it was like, okay, well, that shit didn't work out. Now what's the next plan? Go ahead and chase that. You know what
you.
I'm
Oh,
saying?
okay.
That's kind of when I fell into like the real depths of the poetry world. And that's when I kind of got obsessed with that, and was like, you know what, this is a dream too. This is possible. So let's chase it and see what happens.
So what about you, Bill?
That's why I asked what age, because so one thing y'all should know about me is like I'm very self-aware.
Bitch,
Like,
I already know that.
huh?
But
I said,
You
bitch,
said
I
you
already
already
know
know?
that. You say one thing y'all should know about me, like I don't know pretty much everything about you, bitch. Shut up.
I'm sorry if you got the impression I'm talking to you. I'm
yeah,
talking to our thousands of listeners.
we
Jesus
already
Christ.
know that.
Um, anyways, I'm very self-aware. So, like, to be honest, bro, while I was in college playing Division I sports, I said when people would ask, like, you want to go to the NFL? I was like, yeah, I want to be a regular Joe. Like literally, that was what I used to say. Like, I want to be a regular Joe. And in terms of profession, like, bro, I was out of a prospect and really didn't like once that happened, I was like, all right, I got a shot. But it wasn't like I'm going to I don't know, it was weird. But anyway, in terms of my profession, the majority of my life, it was like I want to be a social worker or a probation officer. I wanted to the premise was I wanted to come back and give back to the community in some way, shape, or form or fashion. And those would just happen to be at that time in my life the most prominent positions that I were aware of, at least that would be able to accomplish those things. Um, and that was it, man. Like I didn't football was like I never looked at like in high school like I'm going to the league. I looked at when I was in high school, I was like I'm getting a scholarship. I guarantee you that. Like that was one of the things that was going. That was a constant. Like that was gonna happen. Like I am not paying for college. Like I knew that, but past that. I said, nah. But the reason why I said I'm self-aware, I had mentors around me that were like, okay, but just, let's think about realistically. So that's I was just very self-aware, just like in terms of like my ability and the likelihood. Like for instance, I could have played basketball or football in college. And it was my high school basketball coach early on. It was like, Bell, Division I basketball gives 15 scholarships. Division I football gives 85. Do the math, right? Like your probability is much higher to go for football. So that's what I did. So even when it's a long story, but basically that was my mindset. I'm like, I'm just gonna do what makes sense, and that's probably the best way to sum it up for me.
I wanted to play football like everybody else, but like I said, 12, 13 years old, fracture you dislocate your shoulder enough times, fracture your ankle, realize this shit ain't for you. So I got into forensic speech and debate immediately after that in high school. And even though I was really successful at that, public speaking and acting and being on stage, I think I kind of went through the rest of my life and just kind of let what was meant for me to be just kind of come. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I discovered poetry at 21 years old. So even during that process of being introduced to slam and starting to travel, kind of, it was always something that I just really enjoyed doing for me. You know what I'm saying? So in the process of doing that, I'm trying to still figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life, not knowing that this is ultimately leading me to what I'm going to end up becoming, which is an artist, a writer. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really have what I wanted to be growing up because I kind of just let life happen. You know what I mean? It was a kind of go by the wind, and I feel like everything that happened in my life made sense and led me to the decision to be the writer that I am now. So it all makes sense. But yeah, that's the best way I can kind of say it, man.
So, in looking at all of our questions, we pretty much summed them all up in our answers. But one question that we have here is how often do you think our primary thoughts shift and change? Like, is it every,
Primary thoughts about what?
it just in general, like whatever it is you're thinking about the most, like how often does that become like an afterthought now? And now there's a new prevalent thought that consumes us, and we're geared and focused on that. Is it, what I mean, is it life changes, is it job changes, is it, what I mean, like what, at what point, or what, or just give an example of how often for you it's been like, okay, this has been my goal and I maybe I've accomplished that goal and now this one is it, or I got a divorce and now my mind is different, like, because
You know what? And I keep it real short, and you can go, Bill. But that primary thought, when I think about how they used to change previously before I got to this space of enlightenment now, they were too attached to my emotions, way too attached. So my primary thoughts would vary depending on how I was feeling. And now I'm learning that I got to separate, in a sense, compartmentalize how I feel from, I guess, logic, so to speak, you know what I mean? Or that primary thought. Just because I may be feeling one way in a moment, it shouldn't alter how I think overall right now. You get what I'm saying? I think I used to allow myself to do that. So I feel a lot more stable now that I've kind of separated the two, or maybe have a little bit more control.
That's a tough place to be. Your emotions literally could change with the weather, or your primary, like
Exactly. And they were, you know what I'm
tough.
saying? So
Yeah,
how do you really get direction and focus? And then how do you really identify that in the moment? Like I didn't identify that until a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard.
I think for me, so it's interesting because since I moved, so I'm gonna say this two ways. My primary thought more often than not is the foundation for my actual primary thought. So I'll explain. So my primary responsibility is my family, right? Protect, provide, right? That's my North Star. So in my mind, it's drive, 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 drive. So financially, you can take care of them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like my primary thought with understanding the purpose behind it, if that makes sense. So like the focus is always my family, and I'm not driving at a sacrifice to them. right? So I'm not driving to accomplish at their detriment. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Yeah.
like I'm working 90 hours a week. I'm not that guy, right? So hear me clear, ladies and gentlemen. Like that's not what I do. But I think just being broke growing up, you know what I'm saying? And like, and again, this is the same thing we spoke about at the opening of the show. Like in the back of my mind, I feel like there's still a chance for me to be broke again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah, I can't let my family, and my daughter's grown now, so she's an adult. But it's like now I got my son. It's like, I can't have my man growing up in Boston broke. Like Boston broke and Connecticut broke is different. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, we can't be doing that. So my primary thought is drive, right? Drive to feed and protect the family. And that doesn't really shift often. That doesn't really shift for me. And like I said, I need to get better. I need to get better at identifying the wins, right? And celebrating them. That's probably the better way to put it. But I'm not there yet. But that's it for me.
I think for me, I spend a lot of time investing in my children's emotional intelligence. Like I see a lot of, just being a dean, like I see a lot of behaviors I don't want my kids to pick up on, and I know I can't prevent them from doing so. So I really put a lot of energy in like instilling like good qualities. Because at the end of the day, Bell, you can triple windmill a basketball. I was jumping over cars for fun, but no one cares if you're a shitty person. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like no, you know what I'm saying? Like at the
More
end of the day,
importantly, a
no one
shitty
cares.
parent. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I deal with that. Like that's the worst part of my job. These shitty parents, awful. You know what I'm saying? So I put a lot of my, it goes from my thoughts shift from what I want for me, and then what I need for my kids, or what my kids need from me. You know what I'm saying? So that's been a lot of where my shift comes from, because I it's just being able to balance that, and then being a single dad at that. You know what I mean? I'm a single man. My kids' mothers take care of their kids, but
Co-parent.
co-parent, the
Yeah.
responsibility, I still have to do my part and make sure that the kids have what they need from their father. And I watch a lot of different things where people are like, I was talking to somebody today, and she was like, I got a good dad. He set a real good foundation on what to expect from a man, and blah blah blah. And I hope I'm doing that for my daughter, and I'm exemplifying that for my boys, so they know, what I mean, the vice versa. So that's been a lot of like every day that it's something, and just the consistent check-ins on school, and making sure that's a priority for them, and then making sure they're always using the manners and shit like that. And then go
Listen, man, I can tell you like this: you can stop hoping, bro. You doing that shit.
no,
Absolutely, man. You gotta know that.
You ain't
Know
you
that.
ain't you hope is not a strategy, man. You are doing that shit. Like you have amazing kids, respectful kids. Like you're winning, right? Like you're winning at what you're looking to accomplish. You're definitely winning. No question about
I
it.
definitely appreciate that, because
No doubt, man.
that's one of the greatest compliments we can get as men. You know what I'm saying? Pete, you write a hell of a poem, but you a great dad. Them poems don't
Hey,
even
yeah,
matter.
man.
You know what I'm saying? Them poems don't even
Hell
matter
yeah.
after that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Hell yeah.
But yo, I think this was good, just to kind of shoot the breeze real quick, and I think this was real authentic conversation that people can like pick up on. And I think we didn't get too deep, but it's just checking in on your homies, allowing them to
I
express.
think I think we did get a little deep though. Like I
Yeah.
think I think I think in the back of my mind, yo, like it won't be good enough, deep enough for you until like we all crying and shit. Like that may
That's
not be
probably what the
true.
people want to see. The people
That may
probably want
not
to see
be true, but
brothers out here. Oh,
that's what.
speaking of that, crying and whatnot, yo, I'm going to. There was a young man, one of my former students. His brother was murdered maybe like 2 months ago. And my son texted me like, "Yo, could you please talk to him? He's really going through it. He's starting to drink, and he's not handling it well." And I'm like, "Yo, I don't have a problem talking. Like, you know what? Maybe we should unpack that on the podcast." And that's, I haven't talked to. We're gonna get a real therapist, P, and get the young man on. He's like 18 now, 19 maybe. Get the young man on and kind of just go through it. It might pull on our heartstrings a little bit, but I think we can really help this young dude, yo.
I'm down. As long as
I
he feels
mean,
comfortable with whatever, you know what I mean?
He said he was
right.
down. I actually saw his pop in the gym the other day. I asked his pop if he was okay with, exposing his son like that. He's like, anything you can do to help my son, go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? So
All right, man.
we
Let's
got
set that up.
we got the green light. So we get young boy on here and just try to, help him heal. He going through it. It's fresh too. So like I said, maybe like 2 months now, maybe
Right.
going on 3. So
That's tough.
I know what it's like to lose a brother, so I can relate in that regard, and you guys can kind of, facilitate that and just.
Yeah, I think that's evolution, right? I think um like that warrants real therapy, right? Like the premise of the show, all black men need therapy. Like that warrants real therapy. Not that him talking to us couldn't help. I'm sure it can, right? But that's like you need a professional. You know what I'm saying? So I think us having one on will show, not for nothing, how much we've grown, right? To even invite something like that on, like that's something that heavy, right? To your point, that, like you said, that can pull on your heartstrings, right? Like there's a high probability that could be our potentially most emotional episode collectively. You know what I'm saying? So I think that just goes to show like where we are and what, because I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning, I would have said, hell no, to protect him, right? Like I would have been like, nah, we're not doing that to him. Where it's like, how do we know who outside? I know his pops. Pops a great dude. So outside of his pops or whoever, like, how do we know who these kids have to speak to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and how do we know, even if they do have access, that they're willing to do it, right? But it sounds like David leveraged his relationship to use this as a potential platform for him to seek healing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what it is. It's like, and this is crazy now that I think about this. Think about it. At that age, who has more influence over you, right? Your parents or your peers, right? Your peers. There's no two ways about it, right? At that age, especially after something like this, you're going to be influenced more likely than not by your peers. Now, I'm not saying that influence has to be negative influence, but it can be influenced, right? So for David to leverage his relationship and what we're doing, like that is powerful. Forget about.
And Big Baby is so Prentice David, aka Big Baby. That's my son, and Big Baby is 6'3", 320 pounds. Like so he just because of his pure stature, he's a leader in every crowd he's in. You know what I'm saying? Because he's always been the biggest guy, but like he understands what I'm doing. He's taking a lot of gems from me, and it's crazy how he texts me. He texts his brother, "Yeah, you need to talk to my dad because he's been through this. He could help you." You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
And I'm like, "Yo, ask him if he wants to be on the podcast." And he's like, "Yeah, sure, when, whatever." So I think we can really, help young man just heal up a little bit and point him in, in a better direction than what he's doing now.
Let's do it, man. That's what we. That's becoming. That may be another, bridge. You know what I mean? What we here for? That we may be discovering, other
Yeah,
purposes we can serve while doing this, man.
that's a good point, P.
I bet, yo. So final thoughts. Bell, take us away, yo. Final thoughts on today, on this episode.
This was good. This was
Mhm.
good. Like for me personally. And I think too, like distance, right? Like typically, just so y'all know, like I just be at Chief's house. He don't be home half the time. And when I'm over there, we literally do exactly what he doing now and just sit on the couch and just chill and talk. But I think because I'm not there, obviously we don't talk, we don't see each other as much for sure. So this was good for me, just kind of unpacking some stuff that you didn't even know was packed up. You know what I mean? So like just in terms of like the whole love and the happiness and all that, like that was good for me to reflect. That's what I'll say. Like my final thought is this: be sure to reflect. All right, because we can be harboring some things that we don't know if we don't reflect, and then once we reflect, then we can address it. It's my final thought.
Okay.
Just that I need to continue to work on allowing joy to coexist. I'm doing good, you know what I mean? But there's not a but. Also, while allowing it to coexist, stay rooted in reality. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there's enough euphoria that comes with this joy. The euphoria can kind of like navigate you or lead you to the world you're kind of creating in your head versus the one that's really in front of you, if that makes sense. So my final thought is just to everybody, for those of you who are now starting to experience better aspects of your life, celebrate them, and remain aware of everything else that's going on as well. Yeah.
For me, talk to your homies, yo. Have like get your people together and have conversation. Even the ones who might, who might not say nothing for a while. Let them at least let them be, flies on the wall and just listen to it. You know what I mean? But get together and talk to your people and air some shit out. And then remember to do the work and embrace the work and embrace the challenges that come your way and help yourself be better. Cause like you feel good. Cause I feel good, yo, in terms of
I
like
do too.
in terms of like just the work I've done. Like I feel good, man. Like I'm ready for whatever comes my way. I think it's, partly due to my fellas, these conversations, but I take time to invest in my mental health and my mental well-being. And as you know, like when your mind is right, can't really nothing stop you. Like it's
For real.
no stopping you. You know what I'm saying? So do the work, That's my thing. Do the work and be proud of the small steps you take in terms of getting that work done. So that's that, fellas. This has been another episode of All Black Men Need Therapy. Holler at us with questions, comments, complaints, or concerns at All Black Men Need Therapy on all social media outlets. All Black Men Need Therapy at Gmail. We drop every Thursday on any podcasting platform and YouTube. So do us all a favor and hug a black man today.
Do it.
And tomorrow.
Do it.
We out.
Peace.